Hi, this is Kathi Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this week's software club. Now, of course, we're working in FTCU this week, and I want to talk to you about a feature that I use constantly. So I think it's very, very important. So we are going to go to pick up a design, and I'm actually going to go to my You Design It. We've really been talking about this a lot lately because it's such an amazing feature, but it gets left in the dust. People don't realize the versatility. So I'm going to grab a body. I'm going to put some arms on this body. Now this is the You Design It feature. These monsters are loaded. You have 15 additional cards, and I know that Trevor has done some video on this, club on this. This is so much fun and so important. Elements that you never thought. So I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to rotate. And I'll tell you what's cool about this. What if I just needed these arms in another design? I could bring in the monster, bring in the arms, put it on screen and ditch the monster. Then I've got these elements, all the elements that are on the right side. I can actually deal with them. If I needed eyes to go on something I was doing, or maybe I needed some horns and didn't want to digitize them. You can't believe all the pieces and elements that are in these designs that you can use and have a ball with. I do it a lot when I need a piece. So, okay, we're ready. This is on screen. We're ready to go. Now, with this on screen, oh, man, he's missing his horns. Well, we're going to go with it. We're going to stay with it. So what I want to do is, with the feature I want to talk to you about is how important it is to have a template. I'm going to say File, Print, Preview, right there. Now, I want you to notice what comes up. It comes up with what do you want to print. I'm going to go to my settings, and this is cool. Now, I'm going to tell it, I can tell the margins. Sometimes I'll lower the margins if my piece is just a little bit big so I don't go to 2 pieces of paper. So I'm going to print actual size because it doesn't do me any good if it's not the right size. I'm going to print the color analysis. I want to print any notes in my color analysis. I want to show my crossbar. Now I could show my hoop and cutting mat as well. I want to show my crosshair, and I want to show it thick because I found by the time we can afford this, we can't see. So now I've got artwork mode and stitch mode. If I've got artwork on here, such as I'm printing a template, maybe on some applique Wonder or Quilter Select Applique, and I just want the artwork to cut out. So I'm cutting out applique pieces, excuse me, of a flower. So I can tell it to print the artwork. Before we couldn't do that. Now, if I just want to print the artwork to print on a template and cut out, I can. And we'll look at this in a moment. I can go to stitch mode, which I have right now. Now, I don't need to print thick stitches. I just need to be able to see it. I'm going to remove jump stitches. Why would I want to print out a jump stitch? Design colors. I want to know the design colors, and I want to print any design notes. Now, I can title this Baby Bib. And so I can put the title, and I can also print a Floriani cat. That's if you have a machine that has a camera or a projector, you can print out our cat, and depending on how your printer gives ink, okay, I'm just going to be real honest about this. We were so excited about this feature because there was my Floriani cat, so my machine could read it if I had a machine with those features. Well, it depends on how much ink your printer puts out. Some printers, it's perfect. Others, this puts out enough ink that this bleeds. And since this is accurate for a projector or a camera, we need to make sure the lines are real clear. So it really varies from printer to printer, just so you know. Now let's go back to the settings. I'm not going to print a Floriani cat, but just so you know what it is. And I'm going to say okay. Now I want you to see what I got. I have the name I gave it. There's the number of stitches, colors, everything's in here. I have all my design colors, so I know what to pull off the wall behind me. I've also got my vertical, horizontal, and diagonal lines. Now, I told it to print the color analysis, so I'm going to show you this. Now, I don't usually print this out, but I usually tell it I want to see it. Because what I love about the color analysis is whatever, it shows you your entire design. It grays out everything it's not stitching. So this is, I can see this is the purple, the Russian violet. Ooh, look, I can see Russian violets down here. I can see Russian violet down here. So the point of this is, let's say I don't have purple or I don't like purple. I can easily see where it's going to stitch and what sequences I need to change. I need to change 1 and 8 and 9, or 10, I'm sorry, to change those Russian violets. But I can see what is stitching and where, and I love this because if we have a bouquet of flowers and are trying to edit out certain colors or we don't like pink or whatever, this is invaluable. So let's go back up. Let's go ahead and close this because I wanted to show you one other thing. I'm going to go to my Save to Sew feature. And y'all have seen my videos and you know I think this is the most powerful feature in our software. I'm going to say this is going on a velour bib. Okay, so I didn't digitize this. So I'm going to have Walter look it over to see if he can improve the digitizing for this design specifically onto a velour bib. Now, these are the Floriani settings have been built into our software. So it's how they would digitize it, stitch at a time to go on that. So I've got 10,780 stitches. I'm going to say next. Okay, I'm down to 9,200. So it took out like 1,500 stitches. Kay tells me, Kay Brooks is who creates and teaches our stabilizer. She's the one that does all the development, research and development on them. And she says, put it on Floriani Perfect Stick, stick it down. We don't hoop velour. Top it with heat and gone and use a size 11 chrome embroidery needle. Now, when I finish, of course, I can pick my format and save it in any format on the market. Remember, we love everybody. But what I want you to see is it put these notes in here. So when I go to my print preview, okay, and here's the icon. Before I went file print preview, we do have an icon for it. When I go to print preview, I want you to notice it also printed out my directions on anything I put in my notes. It's there. So I'm going to print this out on template tearaway. It's going to give me an amazing ability to make sure about where it goes. In the hoop is good, getting it straight in the hoop, but a lot of us have machines with superpowers, or you might have a hooping light or a hooping mat. You might have a hooping system. So we do have different methods to get it in the hoop straight. But of course, we could use the vertical and horizontal lines if we needed to line up with the lines in the hoop. I usually use the vertical line just so, because I'm going to put it in a hoop that's going to fit this the best. This is 3.79 inches by, it's almost 4 by 3 is about what it is. So I'm going to put this in a 4 by 4 frame. So that frame is going to be very close. So let's go back to our settings. Let's close this a moment. Let me go ahead and pick my hoop size. Well, there it is. That's my 4 by 4 frame. So there is my hoop size. And I'm going to now go to print preview. Oh, and go to settings and tell it to print my hoop or cutting mat. Okay. So there we go. Now there it is. I was going to say, wait a minute. So now that's showing me right there. So I want to line this up really good. Because remember, this isn't a perfect rendition of a 4x4 hoop. But I want to line this up when I stick it down in my hoop because I don't have wiggle room right to left. I'm utilizing all the stitching area in that hoop just to the max. So this makes it really easy to make sure it's centered so you don't get that hateful design is out of the hooping area, because you need to have it placed correctly before we even worry about a hoop, a camera, a hooping mat, a light. We need to get it hooped right. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to show you one other thing. I'm going to get a new piece of paper. Let's say I'm going to do an applique. So I'm just going to make up one. I'm going to come up here to, well, let me go to my custom shapes. I'm going to grab a custom shape. So let's grab this bear. I'm going to make this an applique by simply coming down to the bottom and touching my green bush, which is my auto applique there. Now I have an applique piece. I'm going to turn off the artwork so you can see it. All right, so here's my piece. Now, if I come over here, I can use the artwork itself. Let's do this. Let's go to File, Print, Preview. Now, I'm going to take out the fill because I don't want that applique fill. I just want the line, just the line of it. And that's artwork. See, there's the artwork line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Print Preview, and I'm going to go to Settings, and instead of printing stitches, I just want to print artwork. And you know what? Since I'm going to cut this out, I don't need the crosshairs. I don't need design. I might want design colors, and I might want the design notes. But basically, I can turn off anything I don't want to print now. I don't need the notes. We're good. We're good. I don't need, I'm going to take off design colors too. It's not going to matter. So I can take off everything I don't want to print. Now watch this. And I'm going to turn off the hoop too. I don't want to print it because I'm just using it to cut out. So now that's that artwork mode. So it shows me the artwork. So if I'm going to print out Applique Wonder or Quilter Select Applique, I can print this, iron it on the back, and go ahead and cut this out. Now this bear happens to be symmetrical. If you're going to cut it out with scissors, you're going to need to mirror image your design. So I would have grabbed this design, I would have grabbed all segments and mirror imaged. If I was, like I say, if I'm going to print this on the Applique Wonder and cut it out with scissors, I need to mirror image it. If I'm going to cut it with my digital cutter, I'm not going to print anything. I'm just going to stitch it out without mirror imaging it. I'm going to save the design, just the SVG part. So I would take this bear, right mouse click, copy. If I'm using if I'm using a digital cutter, I'm going to right mouse click, paste. So now this will be sent to my digital cutter to go ahead and cut my fabric with my Applique Wonder or my Quilter Select Applique on the back. So I wanted to show you what you can print and all those different ideas. Now, what I want to do, and I'm going to see how this works, I'm going to pause the recording just for a moment. Okay, I'm back, resuming. I'm learning a new feature on my video where you can see my face down in the corner. I could also change it to a different camera view, but I can't figure out how. So I'm going to hold this up here, hoping that y'all can see it well. Now, the reason we want to print out templates is I want you to look at this bib, all right? There is nothing, it's like a snowflake. Everyone is different. They're not ever perfect. The curve to the neck, to the bottom doesn't match. The curve on the right doesn't match the curve on the left. So do you see why templates are so critical? Because I'm going to place it where it looks good. There is no way to measure this perfectly. So we want it to look good within the space. So having a template allows us to do that. So real important. So I hope you enjoyed this week's project of the week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great one.